I just woke up to the news that the PS5 Pro is $700. And the disc drive apparently is sold separately. You know what? I'm just gonna react to the PS5 Pro presentation, and we'll see if it's worth it, but I have a strong feeling it's not.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup, PlayStation 5 Pro, and how it advances gaming technology. But first, I want to take just a minute to look at what we put in the original PlayStation 5 and how it delivers an exceptional experience. When PS5 debuted in 2020, it brought a lot to the table.
No, it didn't.
2 CPU cores form the brains of PlayStation 5 and enable high-speed, complex gameplay, with character counts reaching into the hundreds and frame rates that can be as high as 120 frames a second.
Oh, really?
Has a
I didn't actually know that.
A2 GPU, which can render anything from intricate details to fantastic worlds with vast panoramas.
I didn't actually buy a PS5. I just bought a PC.
Dramatic visual improvements, including reflections off of water or glass, and the realism that comes from real-time global illumination. A custom SSD can load data at breathtaking speed, resulting in ultra-fast transitions between games.
You know, I don't hear people talking about that fast load time anymore.
And data streaming rates so high that traversal speeds are essentially...
Man, I can't wait for this to release on PC.
Tempest 3D audio tech brings an unparalleled sense of immersion to the sound of the games. With audio so real, you may not even need to see the enemies to know exactly where they are.
Actually,
the DualSense controller has
that's just what audio does.
Through your hands, what your character is experiencing inside of the game.
I mean, I did hear the PS5 controller is comfortable.
Game experiences. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance.
Yeah, they're waiting for the PS6.
Everything can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier, and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second.
The problem is, if I remember correctly, not all games included this.
Mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro. We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3. First, we made the GPU much larger and increased the speed of the memory it uses. The result is it's up to 45% faster. Second, we made major upgrades to the ray tracing, taking a streamlined and accelerated approach that allows calculation of the rays at double or even triple the speeds of PlayStation 5. And finally, we added custom hardware for machine learning and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
PSSR analyzes the game images pixel by pixel and can add an extraordinary amount of detail, which boosts the effective resolution of the games. Game creators are adding PS5 Pro support to new and existing titles, and with the Big 3 involved, the results can be pretty amazing, with graphics showing something like fidelity levels of detail, but at double the frame rate. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5
Of
Pro.
course, you have to show off The Last of Us.
Of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much.
Do I not have this running at 6? No, apparently I do.
Choppier.
I
This goal
can't even
almost
see the
fidelity-like
difference.
graphics.
Like,
Has huge amounts of detail and targets
I'm watching this
super
at
smooth
60
frames per
FPS.
second. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second.
I mean, I
and is
get.
therefore much choppier.
I guess I see
This
it,
goal of
but
delivering
barely.
almost fidelity-like graphics at performance frame rates has been achieved for a broad set of titles, including Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power of PlayStation 5.
I don't see it.
Another way to compare the two consoles is to look at PS5 Pro versus Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second. What we see here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5. For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet & Clank. Distant details are much clearer. And here we can see Marvel's
little
Spider-Man
bit.
2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars. So
That you're
overall,
not
it's a
gonna see
remarkable
when you're webbing
On
through.
PS5 Pro, we can see increased sharpness to the graphics or smoother and more responsive gameplay. This is the big three showing their value. As you've been seeing, machine learning via the PSSR library is
You've
being used
got
quite broadly to
more
add
to
critical
show
detail
than
and boost
just
frame
stronger graphics,
But there are as
right?
many approaches as there are game engines. The increase in raw GPU power is being especially effective for Horizon Forbidden West. Apart from the detail boost, that extra graphics power is allowing for improvements to lighting and visual effects, as well as to the hair and the skin in cinematics.
Open up, guys.
I mean, the game was already a graphical showcase on the
Ray tracing is
PS5 to
finding
begin
broad
with,
usage as well,
so
particularly when the games are focused on higher frame rates, the faster hardware in PS5 Pro can make a real difference. Allowing
Can it?
Gran Turismo 7 to add ray-traced reflections between the cars in gameplay, while continuing to support their targeted 60 frames per second. That boost in ray tracing is also delivering big wins for Hogwarts Legacy, allowing not only for better reflections and a greater variety of reflective surfaces, but also for further realism in the casting of shadows. I hope you've enjoyed this run-through of the technology behind PlayStation 5 Pro.
I haven't.
Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built, and a worthy addition to the PS5 family. Let me wrap this up by giving you a quick look at a number of games running on the new console.
Okay. This is all it does.
Don't let me hang it.
I mean,
Close your eyes. It'll be worth it.
Okay.
don't show me Last of Us Part 2.
Did I do it? Oh, what is this? What's with all the neon?
I can't tell the difference. I mean, these games already look great on the PS5 to begin with, so to put this in perspective, this is like upgrading your graphics card on a PC, and that's it, nothing else. But you would have to buy a whole ass new console for that. Fucking $700. $699 US. Play has no limits, yeah, except your wallet. Why is the rest black? Why is there 39 seconds of nothing? Why would you do this? You could buy a Switch and a regular PS5 for the same price. Think about that for a moment. Is it really worth buying a whole ass $700 PS5 when you can just wait 3 to 4 years when they'll come out with the PS6? And the price will be lower. And it will come with new games. And guess what? It'll be more graphically powerful than the PS5 Pro. You know, I could have sworn that when Microsoft did their version of a Xbox Pro thing, didn't they only make it like $100 more or something, and it had more than just graphical power to show off? Why, Sony? You are so crazy for this. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, people. Are you buying a PS5 Pro? I wouldn't. Not even if Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out on it will I buy it for that. At that point, I'll either wait for the PS6 or get the PS5 on, like, a discount. Like, you know, you could buy a regular PS5 on sale during the holidays. You could buy one for you and one for your friend, and it would still be a better use of your money than buying the PS5 Pro. I'm done. This is stupid.